Wait. Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
speaking this morning with Cari Yarmus, who is the owner of Simple Organizing Solutions and a longtime friend of mine. Cari, welcome.
Thanks, Nicole. It's great to be here.
So Cari started her own business how many years ago now, Cari?
It was in early 2018, so just a couple of years now.
Just a couple of years. Excellent. So you're congratulations.
Thank you.
And now, you do professional organizing both for home and office, right?
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about, what you're doing in each place and how it differs.
Okay. Well, my clientele is really run the gamut. I work primarily in Frederick County, and I've worked with single people in apartments all the way to 7-room mansions, 18-room mansions. And then I've worked with some small businesses as well with their office space. So it's both home offices and small businesses. My background is in business development. And so the consulting work I was doing was actually similar to professional organizing. And that's why I sort of took the leap in this direction. And it was largely because I was kind of tired of working in the abstract, and I really wanted to start working have concrete results after I was finished with the day's worth of work. So it really started with offices because that was the environment that I was in. And then it branched out to homes as well. So
Right. And was this a pet interest of yours? Like, I've been to your home and I've seen how super organized it is. How long ago did this kind of interest in organizing and just having things in a place and visually organized, when did that start for you?
I think probably most organizers would say it's just ingrained in their personality and in their, their lifestyle. I feel like, I was always the friend who would go to people's houses and I'd be sipping my coffee and also sort of rearranging the Legos and sorting things. Or can I get into your pantry and put things in order, make the labels? I mean, I think definitely having sort of that type of personality, it really fits very well with organizing. And so actually, when I was trying to make the leap from business development to personal organizing, it was friends who said, you really need to go explore this avenue. I see this as something that's just ingrained in you. There are people who do this for a living. Why don't you sort of develop that as well? And so it was actually because a friend recommended me just before I had even started my business, recommended me for someone who had posted on Facebook and was looking for someone to help them move. And I said, sure, I would love to do it. I mean, even I often now wonder why I get paid for what I do, because it really is, it gives me so much joy, and it fills so many of the skill set that I have. It just like lets me, do that and get paid for it. So it was just kind of a natural fit. So I think it's definitely something that it sounds cliched, but kind of born to do. I mean, it's just inherent in who I am.
And Cari, like, what is the reason that people call you in first? I mean, you get so used to the clutter around you. Is it that they just get to a point where enough is enough, or is it that they're moving, or what is the frequent trigger?
It's kind of runs the gamut. I mean, for most people, that I wind up working with, it tends to be situational. So maybe there was a recent birth, or they're anticipating a baby coming, or I work a lot with blended families. So there's a lot of yours, mine, ours, the exes. How do we sort all this out? I work a lot with recently divorced people or people who've just retired. So the majority tends to be situational, where maybe a situation's been going on for quite a while and people have just hit this critical mass of, I am underwater enough that I would like some assistance. And so I tend to work mostly with those kind of clients who I can help navigate them through the crisis. And then, really what most people benefit from is just that assistance in that time of need. And then they can carry the ball after that. I do have some clients that I do maintenance with. And so I'll come periodically, maybe every season. A few clients I actually come monthly and sort of work deeper in a certain area. But a lot of people just need, temporary help to allow them to focus on whatever else is really keeping them awake at night, and I can handle all the physical part of it.
Oh, that's awesome. And are they embarrassed when they call you? I mean, how difficult is it for people to call you?
I think what I find is most people are not embarrassed to reach out, but when I tell them that I'm happy to come and see what they are talking about, that's when they become a little bit more ashamed. And I always tell them, and purposefully, I offer a free half-hour consult where I want it to be on site so that I have that opportunity to really to see what the project is, but also to reassure the people that my guiding philosophy is not judgmental. I mean, that's overall my approach, is that this is, people are calling me often when they're feeling vulnerable and they're feeling like they need somebody to help them. And so my pathos is I want to be there to help you. And so any amount of shame, shockingly, actually, people, once I get there and we've talked and stuff, that hopefully I feel like that shame dissipates. But I think it's more like visually seeing what they think is craziness, which I often think is totally within my scope and I can do it no problem. I mean, there's like the saying that people see you as 20% more attractive than you see yourself. Like, I see people's mess as 100% better than they see it themselves. So they might feel shame, but really it's nothing I haven't seen before. And if it looked great, then they wouldn't be needing to call me. So the crazier, right, the better it is for me, because it makes me feel like I get more accomplished by the end of the day.
And so you said that in the beginning, you go in and you do a half-hour consultation. Do people pay for that? And then how do you go about quoting? Do you quote per room? Do you quote by bulk?
Sure. No, so I always offer a free half-hour in-home consult or in-business consult because, like I said, I want to be able to see the space. And what I've done a lot of research in the area and spoken with a lot of other organizers, and I came to the conclusion, and it seems to work best for clients, that we do an hourly rate. So I just have a flat hourly rate. There's a few reasons for this. I think every job is unique. It's hard to actually project how long something will take until you get into it. And I also want clients to feel like at any point they can reassess and say, this is working for me, this is not working for me. I don't want them to feel committed to an entire house project. I want them, especially because people are a little trepidatious and they don't know what to expect, how much is going to get accomplished in a day. I want them to have that sense of, they're only committing to an hour at a time. And I'd say the majority of the time, we start out with a small space and that kind of tests the waters. And then they wind up having me back to do another space and then another space and then another space. And I feel like that is the best way for me to operate, because I'm gaining their trust a bit at a time. And I want them to always, with their stuff and with their time and with their money, I want clients to feel like they are in control. And so charging an hourly rate, I feel like gives them some of the power that they might feel otherwise powerless about.
And what do you do with the stuff? Do you throw it out? Do you sell it for them? How do you, once you've weeded through,
sure, yeah,
what happens?
First, I'll talk about the process because it varies. It's very personalized. So some clients want to be heavily involved in the process. So we're working side by side and they're telling me whether things need to be donated or trashed or moved or packed away. A lot of clients actually, surprisingly, just want the entire project outsourced. They just want me to come in and not have to deal with it at all, which I'm fine with whatever it is that the client decides they want. So in those cases, I usually do check-ins with them and we'll play sort of what I call the game at the end of the day where, using my knowledge and expertise, I've sort of made some categories for them, and then they can come in and just sort of point to things. It's already sort of been organized. It's a lot easier for people to go down a line and say, keep, toss, donate, than it is for them to walk into a room and try and figure it out for themselves. And then once, we do simple organizing solutions. So we tend to really break things up into simple tasks. And so I always have, bags that I will bring. And one thing I also pride myself on is that I try to be a one-stop resource for everybody. So I will carry out your trash, your recycling, anything you want to donate. I have recommendations for many wonderful causes in Frederick County, or if the client has something that's near and dear to them, I'm happy to for free take their donations to any number of places, as long as they're in Frederick County or nearby. But I find that also helps clients feel like, one, it helps them get through that extra mile. A lot of times people have stuff, the Goodwill bag sitting in their trunk for months and months and months. Well, I want to take that burden off of them as well. So if they want to bring it to the women's shelter or Middletown Clothes Closet, I wind up, because I'm in Middletown, I wind up donating a lot of children's clothing to wherever they want to go. I want to take it for them. So I really try and carry it through the entire process. Some clients do ask for help with selling things. I do have a list of auction houses that I've worked with, consignment places. I can help them post on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. On occasion, and then especially initially, I was helping clients sell things, but I think that just takes it actually is more challenging just logistically, because if it's big items, the client needs to be there anyway. But I'm there to certainly assist and guide in that. So overall, I just want the approach to be from soup to nuts, sort of. Like, I want to make sure that I can refer clients to service providers who perhaps they need, while we're going through their house, we write down a list of handyman projects that might need to be done. And so I can refer that. I can refer them to home renovators, realtors, stagers, any number of things that really helps them feel like when I'm done, the project is done as well, and they don't have anything lingering on their plate.
Super. So tell me about one of the most difficult projects that you've worked on and how you went about handling that.
Sure. So for the first year, I feel like I was definitely taking on, I actually did a lot of pro bono work before I started the business, just to legitimize the fact that even though I knew I had these skills, I wanted to make sure that, people felt comfortable with it and it was worth paying for. So initially I took every single project that I could. And it was great. It was a great experience because I've learned a tremendous amount. The diversity and variety of projects that I did were really fundamental in allowing me to figure out exactly what my skill set is, which clients I could help the best and the most efficiently, and just to really have a solid approach even before walking into a project. I will say I love dealing with, again, people in situational crises. I love dealing with blended families where organizing gets complicated because it's, again, it's yours, mine, ours, the exes, the second families. And it's just, I love that kind of sorting through that kind of, organizing that kind of dynamic. I love working with people in their 50s to 70s who have some emotional attachment to items. I really pride myself on sort of my empathy and my ability to sort of very sensitively deal with when people are downsizing a lifetime's worth of items that are important to them. So those are projects I really love. In general, anytime there's something that is weighing on the person because it's keeping them up at night and the stuff is really incidental to it. There's so many other emotional things or logistical things that someone needs to be going through in addition to the stuff. I want to take the stuff off their plate, and I want to make sure that is not what's keeping them up at night. I do say, and now that I've been doing this for several years, anyone who is clinically diagnosed, not self-diagnosed hoarders, because it's surprising how many people say I'm a hoarder, but really I've done research and spoken with therapists, and anyone who's clinically diagnosed as a hoarder, I often will say I'll refer them out to a counselor or, a licensed professional, because although I will accept them as clients, I need to, there's certain situations that really I'm not designed to be able to assist with. So I think that, some of the hardest, there were a couple of really hard jobs where I just felt like I had one client who hadn't been diagnosed, but eventually got diagnosed with OCPD, which is obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And in the end, I wasn't able to help her move off of the loop. And so I didn't want her to keep paying for something that, was never going to be finished. And it didn't help me to feel like I was, pushing, water up a hill with a rake. So it felt like it wasn't the right situation. But that's only happened actually twice in the time that I've been working. And it was, I think it's important to know sort of what your limitations are. And so it was a great learning experience for her and for I. But other than that, I feel like the crazier the task, the more excited I get about it.
Oh, that's awesome. I know that certainly in my work as well, when it comes to working with older people, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of history behind a lot of what you are dealing with in the house. And it's not just their emotion, it's also the extended family's emotion around those items. So it becomes very sensitive in terms of how you need to be able to handle it. And also when you go into somebody's house, just being able to make them feel at ease with what they have, and not feel as if they're being judged for how it's being presented or how much they have, or what kind of things they have, I think is phenomenally important in the kind of work that both you and I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, and I always tell clients, for myself personally, I'm not the minimalist kind of organizer. I mean, I have a large family, and we have visitors in the house all the time. We need stuff. I like stuff. My family likes stuff. I have children who are young, and there's constant flow of stuff. So the reason I find my business is successful is because of that tremendous amount of empathy, because I'm living, through those things myself sometimes. And so I am not someone who comes in and wants the, people have really gloved onto Marie Kondo, who's a fantastic organizer, but her guiding philosophy is touch every item. It needs to all spark joy. And most of the people that I deal with are not in that phase of life where they want the one single object on the bookshelf. And so I feel like my own life experiences are very sensitive to that, and I try very hard to help people just live with what they have, function well, so that the stuff doesn't become a hindrance or any more emotional baggage to it than it needs to have. And so, I'm certainly not of the mind of coming in like a whirling dervish and just throwing everything out into a dumpster. That's absolutely not what most of my clients want, nor is it, what I feel is beneficial for them. So, and I deal a lot with extended family members. I mean, to that point, there's simple things we can do, like taking pictures of stuff and sending them to people to say, do you want this? Or me, again, sort of helping with bringing the things. If people are local, I've many times brought stuff to exes or to grandparents so that they can have it in their house, or helping box things up. I mean, there's no reason that it has to feel like an assault or attack when you're having your house organized. It really should feel like it's assistance, and it's lifting a burden off of you.
And I have to say, certainly as a realtor, when we go through and, even if I'm showing a house to clients where the owners are still occupying the premises, the effect it has when it is super organized, and even the closets are organized, whether, kind of visually as well. Some people even do their colors, organizing their clothes in a particular way. And it definitely does have a very neutralizing effect. I mean, sometimes it can be pretty scary. It's like, oh my goodness, look at this. But also, it actually does help neutralize. And that's the whole thing for us as realtors. The tidiness and the ability to just calm the eye as you walk through is really, really important when presenting a house for sale. So, having it organized does exactly that, because when things are placed in such a way that, there's mess all over, you begin to function and your mind goes to the complexity. So, the easier it is, the more neutral it is, the easier it is to walk through and just imagine yourself and how you'd rearrange that space.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that really helps us.
I've spoken with a lot of, it's very common that people will have stagers, or realtors will have stagers come in, and I've spoken with a lot of stagers to sort of help assist that, or even do that myself, so that people feel like, a lot of times, depending on the market, people may have to stay in their house for quite a while before it sells. And so I want it to strike that balance of being livable for the current occupants, but also so that potential new occupants could imagine themselves in that space. So there really is this very unique balance that has to be struck. And so I do that a lot with clients, where I make sure that they still feel like it's their home, but that also someone else can walk in and feel like it could be their home as well. So,
well, Cari, thank you so much. How can people get hold of you?
Sure. So I have a website that is simpleorganizingsolutions.us. And I also have a Facebook page, which is you can find through simpleorganizingsolutions.us as well. People can call me at any point. My number is 301-646-6840. I don't have a tremendous amount of social media presence, mostly because I'm doing so much actual work. I really haven't spent a whole lot of time, posting things, but I do have a newsletter, and I have some tips on my website. And so, yeah, I welcome anybody to give me a call. And if they find that I'm not the right fit for them, there's people that I can absolutely refer you to, or other service providers in the area, because again, my main goal is really to just help people, because that is what I love so much about doing this job.
Super. Cari, thank you so much.
Well,
keep well.
You. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.